Hey guys, Grant here. I want to tell you all about my friends at Black Bear Inn and Suites of Gatlinburg who are making it possible to bring this episode to you. As you guys know, I grew up in East Tennessee, and there are two things that all East Tennesseans have in common. We all love the Vols, and we all love the Smoky Mountains. Since I've moved to Nashville, I've been unable to get my Smoky Mountain fix in, but thankfully, our friends at Black Bear Inn and Suites of downtown Gatlinburg have me covered. They are conveniently located at 1100 Parkway and are within walking distance of all the major attractions and best food that downtown Gatlinburg has to offer. To book your Smoky Mountain getaway today, visit blackbeargatlinburg.com or call 865 436 5656 or toll free at 1 800 933 0777.
Welcome to this episode of the Vawlint Out podcast. I'm your host Jordan here with my co-host Grant. How you doing today, bro?
Man, Jordan, I am good, brother. It's always good being over here chatting with you, especially after the Vols got a dub. It feels like we haven't been able to talk too much after a dub lately.
Man, you ain't lying, buddy. Today we're gonna recap the hog roasting we had in Fayetteville last night. Give everybody a player of the game. Put somebody on the milk carton. We're gonna look at some scores of interest. Play some start bench cut, which we haven't done in a while.
It's making a return after I've been sick, bro. It's the best day of my life.
Right. And we're going to talk about the Commodores coming to town this weekend.
Man,
so
we got ourselves a packed show.
Yes, sir.
Is it time to jump in to seeing what the Vols did against the Hogs?
Let's do it.
All right, man. Well, in this game yesterday, the Volunteers got the first win in Bud Walton Arena since 2009 with a final score of 92-63. Only the fifth road win in the series for the Vols as well. So,
wow,
kind of another place where Tennessee struggled at. And I'd be willing to say, I know that Arkansas has not been in the league as long as Kentucky. We both know that.
Right.
But getting a win at Bud Walton Arena is a whole lot more rare than getting a win at Rupp. I mean, a little bit more than half the time you've got one at Rupp. So I'm going to take this right here, and I'm going to be thrilled with this one. Couple of notes of interest from the game yesterday. Richard Dale Barnes has now beaten every single SEC team on the road.
Impressive. Ricky Dale handing out high-end whoopings.
Well, man, it's kind of crazy that he was never able to beat Arkansas at Bud Walton. And now I know that we don't play them a lot there. It's one of those things where it kind of goes with that. But at the same time, man, like massive on what was done last night for Tennessee. Tennessee now leads the all-time series against the Hogs 25-22. Only two other SEC teams lead the all-time series against Arkansas. Name the other two for me.
I'm going to say Kentucky's one of them.
Correct.
Let's see, here's the other one. Florida.
You got it.
Well, I'll be dang.
Yeah, I thought Florida would be a tough one for a lot of people to get right there. So I want to include that in on the slideshow next to the Valentine's night dinner that the Vols cooked for all of us right over there next to it. So kind of diving into it, man. I mean, Tennessee just really, really played a great game. I mean, there was nothing that really concerned me outside of the very beginning of this game. I don't know about you.
Yeah, they kind of got off to a slow start, but I don't even necessarily want to say it was a slow start. Arkansas got off to a faster start than what Tennessee did. And dude, as soon as those first couple threes they threw up went in, I was just like, oh God, not again.
Well, I was like, here we go again. Another team that can't shoot for anything normally, and they're going to have their best shooting night against the Vols. But that was just not the case. Arkansas, 37.9% from the field. So let's call it 38. 3-point percentage, 34.8%. I mean, a little bit too high, but I'm not gonna be up in arms about it. I mean, they hit 8 threes. You're looking at the screen right here. Yeah. Arkansas had 15 turnovers and 25 boards, where Tennessee shot lights out from the two. Most dunks Tennessee's had in the season, actually, but 57% from the field for Tennessee, 29.4% from three. Ugly night from three for the Vols. Only 12 turnovers and 36 rebounds, man. I mean, you can't really be upset with what you saw. And then the assist numbers, Tennessee had 14. I still want to see that number go up just a tad bit more, but Arkansas only had 9. But the number that bothers me the most from this entire game, and I'm going to say it right here, 12 turnovers for Tennessee.
Yeah. There was times they got a little sloppy. Zakai. It wasn't just him though. I mean, they got a little sloppy at times. Whenever we would speed up, it didn't seem like they were very confident in making some passes, this, that, and the other. And then they just had a couple of dumb turnovers too. I mean, it happens.
Well, and you look at it right here, man, too. I mean, and for all the viewers who are watching on YouTube as well, look at this number right here. Arkansas had 12 steals in the game, where Tennessee only had 9.
That's our
Like,
12 turnovers right there.
yeah, and it wasn't any of the balls just went out of bounds or anything like that, because that wouldn't be considered a steal.
Right.
Arkansas got in the passing lanes every single time that they got the ball and turned Tennessee over, and it really shows right here. It's a concern I have for the longevity of this team, but I just, it's one of those things, man, where Tennessee's going to have to clean that up a little bit. And I know they can, and I know that they will.
Right.
It's just, okay, you go have a bad performance against Texas A&M on Saturday. You go to Bud Walton Arena on Tuesday night or Wednesday night at this point. Gosh, I can't even think of the days anymore. But you go to Bud Walton Arena on Wednesday night and you turn the ball over that many times. Just a concern, something I want to put on everybody's radar right there, because that's not how this should be.
Sure. No, it's not. But like you say, though, that's something that I feel like Ricky Dale get under control.
Well, if you don't, it's going to be an issue. Really glaring stat for me when you look at the full team stats right here as well. Points in the paint. Look at that
Oh,
number right there.
oh yeah, man.
48 to 22.
I mean, more than doubled them up. And Adu had his best game, one of his best games in a while last night. It was
I'd be
due
willing to say that that is his best game he's played since Ole Miss.
easily. Double
Yeah.
double. It was what, 25 and 12 or something like that, 25-13.
It's something like that. We'll get to it on the next stat when I've got all that pulled up right there. But Jonas Adu just was a grown man, was able to get those points in the paint, the 45 to 22 for Tennessee. Tennessee's largest lead in the game was 32, where Arkansas's was 4. And Arkansas's was early on. I mean, it was within like the first 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, yeah. And I'd seen something they were talking about during the game last night, that the 32 was the largest deficit that Arkansas had lost to at home, and that happened this year to Auburn.
Yeah.
Tennessee had their shot to do it last night. But hey, I'm not going to complain about winning by 30, 32, whatever. I'm not going to complain about it.
No, well, why would you? I mean, at the
Right.
end of the day, a dub's a dub on the road, and that's hard to come by in the SEC. I mean, SEC pound for pound, just like Jimmy Dykes said last night on the broadcast, is the best basketball conference in America this year.
I would agree
And
with that.
well, I don't know how anybody can argue it. And for one of our next shows, I'll build something where it kind of compares the SEC versus the Big 12. I think that'd be a lot of fun, and a lot of people would be interested in that. But man, I mean, you kind of can't complain with anything. Diving into the box score for the Volunteers, you had Jonas Adu, 23 points, 12 boards in 30 minutes. He shot 11 of 14 from the field and 1 of 1 from the line.
Man, Jonas just had
Ooh-wee.
himself one of those games, man. It's one of those mama, there goes that man type of games for him. You know what I mean?
Oh man, well, I mean, he was in full effect on it. I mean, he played one of the best games he's ever played. Only had 3 turnovers and 1 foul. 1 foul is the biggest stat for Jonas Adu for me in this entire game. Sure, the
Yeah.
points are nice, the rebounds are nice, but if Jonas Adu is able to keep himself ready and available for this team, oh man,
Well, I
oh
mean,
man,
we've seen it this year, man. Anytime Jonas gets in foul trouble, anytime Dalton gets in foul trouble, or even Zakai, man, we're Tennessee is in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
major trouble.
Especially if you get 2 of the 3 in foul trouble.
Yeah,
Um,
and you didn't have to worry about that last night. I mean,
mm,
nobody picked up more fouls than 3, and that was Shaq. I mean, a lot of guys are sitting here with 1 or 2 on the box score right here, but man, I mean, I'll just take it any day. Diving into the next guy on the list right here is Mr. DK3, Dalton Connect himself. 32 minutes. He shot 7 of 14 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3. Ooh, that's kind of ugly. I didn't catch that when I was building this.
ooh,
7 of 10 from the line, 4 boards, 2 steals. I think that number's wrong. I think it's actually 3. Thanks, ESPN. Um,
They
3
hate us.
blocks. I mean, 2 fouls, 22 points.
Yeah,
Man,
there was. Go ahead.
I just want to say this for a second. Is Dalton Connect becoming a really good defensive player?
I think he is, man. He must have watched the show a while back because I said that was his one weakness.
Yeah,
Uh,
he was like, I can't have Jordan talking bad about me anymore.
right. I mean, but dude, there was one point he had back to back trips up the court with a block. I mean,
Yeah.
swatted it, put it in the cheap seats, son.
I mean, man, that's what I want to see out of the kid. I mean, and what I loved last night too, and they even said this on the broadcast, Sam Presti of the Oklahoma City Thunder was there. And Sam Presti is known for finding these guys who he can build into for his team. Well, there's a lot of talk, not just a little bit, a whole lot of talk. The Dalton Connect is going to be wearing an Oklahoma City jersey next year. And man, him going in, I know you're not that big of an NBA guy like I am, but Dalton Connect on that team right there. Oh my God.
Hey, we get one in the league, I'll watch him. I mean, that plays a
Well,
lot. You know what I mean? We've got a few, other
yeah,
than
well,
Grant,
like
but
Grant's with Charlotte now, Admiral's still with Orlando, Jaden Springer's with Philadelphia. You got a couple of guys who have spots in the league, but man, Dalton Connect is ready to be an NBA All-Star. I mean, just with how good the kid is already. And if he goes to a spot like Oklahoma City, they're already going to be a playoff team this year. I mean, they've just got 95 draft picks because that's what Sam Presti wanted to build off of when he traded away Russell Westbrook and Paul George and
right,
Carmelo Anthony. So they've got, I mean, it's something ridiculous, like 12 first round picks over the next 5-6 years. And they're already a playoff team this year. They add Dalton Connect in as a lottery pick. Oh my God.
right. That's some serious equity right there, buddy.
Oh man, it'd be crazy right there. Diving into the next guy on the team, after talking about Dalton just becoming the second coming of Eve Pons with the blocks, we're going to talk about Zakai Ziegler. And I just noticed in my graphic right here in front of you guys, it says 0 minutes. I made this last night before ESPN updated it, so I will tell you guys the full stats off of the minutes over here on my side. Zakai Ziegler in 30 minutes shot 4 of 8 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3. Don't like that. Now, here's the one that's the most concerning to me, Jordan. How in the hell does Zakai Ziegler go a whole game without a single trip to the free throw line?
Yeah, that's it. He there to his defense though. There was a couple of them that he should have gotten the call on late after Tennessee had kind of opened it up a little bit, and I guess they felt like it didn't matter. But I mean, there was a trip or two up the court where he just got absolutely mugged.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, he should have been at the line more, but it's just weird seeing a stat line without Zakai at the free throw line. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this is probably the first game since early in his career that he's not had a trip to the free throw line,
Right?
just
Yeah.
with how aggressive he plays. But Zakai had 3 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals, 3 turnovers. Numbers got to go down on that once again, with 9 points. I'm not going to critique the 9 points too hard, but Zakai, we still need to see more from you on that offensive line. But you're playing the best ball out of anybody in the country right now, not named Dalton Connect. So I'm not going to pick on you. Next guy on the list in 28 minutes, Santiago Vescovi, 0 of 3 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. So he was consistent with where he chose to take his shots from, 4 of 4 from the line, 6
Hmm.
rebounds, 2 assists. I mean, 1 turnover, 4 points. I just don't know what to say. The stuff he does doesn't fill the stat sheet. I understand that, and that's just what Santi is this year. So I'm going to be done picking on him after this, but man, this is just not what I expected from a guy going into his 5th year in the program who was able to be such a special player like he was at one point in his career. Next guy on the list, Josiah Jordan James, 25 minutes, 4 of 7 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 3 of 3 from the line, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 fouls, 12 points.
Not gonna
Josiah,
complain.
do this every single day, Josiah,
Yes.
and Tennessee will win a championship. It's that
Yes.
simple. It's that simple. I mean, I just, I don't know. Lots of guys played garbage time minutes last night, so we won't dive into that. There's only going to be two guys I talk about from the bench on this one. And if you want to talk about any of them, feel free to take over after I get done with that, Jordan. But I'm going to speak about Mr. Jordan Gainey. 18
Hey,
minutes, 6 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, 3 of 3 from the line, 1 board, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 turnover, 2 fouls, 17 points.
dude is playing fantastic ball right now. After we rode him for how long?
For 2 months. I mean,
Yeah,
well,
playing
like you
fantastic.
went to that game with me for LSU and you met the guy who sits behind us.
Yeah,
How much does he ride Jordan Gainey? He is
quite a
all
bit.
over him. It's so funny. And like I turned around to him, I forget what game it was, and I told him, I'm like, dude, drop it. Like the kid is actually a really good player, like, but he has that mindset of, oh, well, he's only on the team because his dad's the assistant coach. No, this kid can ball. And like I even said that before in the season. Oh, he's only on the team because of who his dad is. I am wrong. I am guilty. Hands are up. Take me to jail.
Right. Yeah. I mean, dude. Well, I will say this too. The night at the LSU game that night, he was riding Jonas like a horse.
Oh,
So
dude, Jonas and Jordan are the two that he just, oh my God, he can't stand either one of them. And it's so funny. So it's a father and son who typically goes. His mom was with him that night. His dad hates Jonas Adu more than I've ever seen one person hate a player.
man,
It's
I mean
so
that's
funny. It's like, come on, do you know your hoops? Come on, guys. That's all I'm going to say. They're great people. Love the guys to death. I'll go have beers with them and BS with them and have a good time. But man, it's like, come on. Sometimes think about what you're saying. These are kids and they're good kids and they're playing good ball. But
right.
last guy I want to talk about, man, in 14 minutes, Mr. Jemiah Meshack went 0 of 2 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3. He got 2 points at the line. So, yay. 1 rebound, 1 assist, no steals, which is kind of crazy, no blocks, which is kind of crazy. No turnovers. He got 3 fouls, 2 points.
Bruh. Come on, Jemai. You're making me look bad, brother.
No, we all love you, man. Like, I don't understand what's going on with that. Is there any of these guys that kind of came in garbage time yesterday? Cade Phillips, Freddie Dilion, Cam Carr, that kind of showed you something in their limited minutes yesterday, Jordan?
I'll tell you what, man. We call it garbage time, but these guys that are catching this time right now, if they're getting it in games like this, experience is very valuable come tournament time. They're
I
getting
agree.
experience. Granted, it's not, what you would say tight game experience, but it's game experience, and they're gonna need it. We might need them to need it to have it. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
there's one guy who needs to have more minutes.
I'm gonna
Freddie
say
Dilion.
that's who I was gonna go with. I think he needs to maybe possibly start taking some minutes from Santi. Here's my thing with Santi. Like, I love the kid to death. I'm just like you. I love him to death. He's a phenomenal ball player, like all around.
Mhm.
Okay, but man, bring him off the bench.
I don't know if you can really do that though with what he's done for the program in the past. And, you know, it you need to have this kind of be like a John Fulkerson situation. And I'm going to go back to John Fulkerson's 6th year on the team. So his COVID year, his grad student year. Let's just call it that. His grad student year.
Sure.
He was god awful. He was horrible. He shouldn't have even been on the floor, but he came back. He wanted to get the money, and we were all happy to have John Fulkerson back in the 865. Nobody
Right.
was upset about that. But this reminds me of that. It reminds me of a guy who I don't want to say the game has passed him up, but a guy who just isn't doing what he needs to do anymore. That there's too many other good players on the team, and it's taking away from what he's doing.
I would agree with that. I think he's kind of got the mindset at the moment that he's on a gravy train with biscuit wheels, so to speak, and he's just along for the ride at this point.
Yeah, I mean, but I'll say this too about Santi, man. Santi does so many things that don't show up in the box score right here that I literally cannot put in a graphic for you guys to see right here. I just can't. because Santi
Right.
does so many of the little things, like him coming up off the ball screens and him getting a hand in a defender's face. Sure, in the shooter's face.
Yeah.
The guy doesn't make the shot. Well, it doesn't go as a block towards Santi because he didn't block it, but he affected that shot. And that's what Santi does a
Right.
lot of.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And like I'm not disrespecting the kid by no means when I say that, but it's one of those things where I feel like maybe he needs a fire lit under his hind end, and that might be the best way to do it
Yeah, I
is
mean, it
bring
might
him off
be.
the bench.
Well, John Fulkerson made the decision himself to come off the bench that year.
Yeah,
I wonder if Santi starts, calling over his good buddy John Fulkerson and saying, "Hey, bud, let's meet at Pal's and go have a PGT and a Big Pal real quick, and let's talk about a couple things,
sure.
and let's, kind of see how you navigated that situation because I need to do what's best for the team so I can win a championship and I can have something you never got, John." I mean, I don't know.
Right.
That might be something that he needs to do right there, but I just man, let's just go on to the next slide. So
Hey,
Arkansas,
real
not a
quick
lot.
though,
Okay.
before you go into that, I want to shout them out because we had talked about the slump that they're in shooting free throws. 21 for 24 last night, man. Call it 88%. Impressive. They're going
Yeah.
to have to shoot like that.
Yeah. Well, that is really big right there. And I'm glad you caught on that because I have that in my notes in front of me and I just skip past it because I'm Tennessee public school education. Don't know what to say to you guys on that other than anything right there. I don't know how to read.
Still better than Bama.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? So looking at Arkansas right here, man, I mean, Graham 8 points, Lawson 2 points, Ellis 6 points. Tamari and Mark was the only one who got 12. I mean, only one who got in double figures.
Yeah, there just wasn't anybody last night for them that stood out. I mean, early on, you're like, okay, somebody's going to have the night of their life against the defense. But it's like, come on now. You just was waiting on it. You know what I mean?
Well, and here's one thing right here, too, man. Must played 12 guys in this game.
Wow, really?
That's crazy. Like, look at
That
how big
is.
that is in front of us. 12
No,
guys.
that's true. I didn't think to look at it like that, but good Lord, man.
Yeah.
12?
Like, I don't know how he was able to play 12 guys. I mean, with all the problems they got going on over there. But man, I mean, just whew, I don't know what
Yeah.
else to say.
How far, man? Did he play the water boy last night?
That's what it seems like. I mean, but dude, look at their team stats right here. 11 to 15 from the line. I'm not gonna, complain about that for Arkansas. I think that's really good. 73.3% from the line, but you only missed 4 shots.
Right.
3-point, they were really good from the 3-point line. I
Yeah.
mean, 35%, 38% from the field, though. Yikes.
Couldn't do much out inside that 3-point line.
Yeah.
We done a good job of Tennessee done a really good job of packing the paint and not letting them get anything easy.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy right there, man. But you want to hear what Rick Barnes had to say after the game in his post-game press conference?
Let's do it.
Well, one, we had a lot of respect for Arkansas coming in, and we knew that they were capable of beating anybody in this building because we've got so much respect for their fans in this building here. And I thought really after our game the other night, our guys did a really good job preparing, getting ready to come here, and I thought all around we played a really good all-around basketball game and shot the ball well. Didn't make as many threes as we normally take or shoot, but just got a really good all-around performance from everyone that was in the game.
It seemed like in the first half, Arkansas kind of kept being able to climb back in it when you guys would separate a little bit. What was it in the first half that Arkansas was doing to kind of allow them to do that?
Well, we wanted to. They're so good at getting fouled. They're so good at getting into the lane area. They do a great job in their ball screen where they hit the roll and they can spray it out of there. But we just felt like we had to get them shooting threes as much as we could and try to keep them from getting in the lane, getting us in foul trouble, getting us in rotation, and then on the other end trying to really take care of the ball because they do a great job of turning you over and getting out. But and they made shots in the first half. They started the game making them, and last time out against A&M, they made them. We got away from our gap defense, and tonight we stayed with it, and that's what we we showed some discipline there, but they obviously didn't make as many shots in the second half as they did in the first half.
Yeah, I was going to ask you kind of what you thought was behind that drastic difference in shooting for Arkansas in the second and the first.
You know, the game is a game that the one thing coaches can't coach is making shots, and you know, we know our guys, we know what we see in practice every day, and you know, Eric's a terrific coach. He knows his teams, he knows his players better than anybody, and you know, there's some nights when we get great looks, they don't go in, and it's those nights when you hope you can find other ways to facilitate some offense, and that's where I thought Jonas played a heck of a game for us tonight, and Tobey did some things in there, but I just think that, again, in the game when you get behind and you got to start making those threes or making those plays, it gets more difficult. And but again, we just felt like we had to try to force him into as many jump shots as we could.
And then with Jonas, just what led to him kind of playing like this again? And what do you feel like this team's ceiling is when he plays like that?
Well, when he plays like that, when he plays with force to the rim like he did tonight, he played quicker, and because they do a very good job. I mean, they'll block shots on you, and if you mess with it, they'll come get it. Guy on the ball can block it, but I thought he played much quicker. I think they blocked one of his shots where he did take too much time. They got one of Tobey's too, and we had talked about that coming in here, that we wanted those guys to play quicker once we got the ball there. But Jonas, I thought he looked relaxed, shooting his little, 15-footers. And but what he did at the rim and his rebound in the second half was really big. He came up with a lot of plays in there, and his length affects things around the rim when he gets himself in position.
Anything else? Yeah, I heard you say on the radio the ball screens. They might not have completed any of those tonight. I mean, how big was that?
Well, it was big that we didn't want them to hit the roll. They do a great job of passing it there, and they do a great job of doing that as good as anybody that we play against. And we just felt like it was important that we try to take away the roll man as much as possible and try to keep him on the perimeter and again, just try to keep him out of the high percentage area, because his teams have always done a great job of exploiting that.
Anything else?
All right, and that was Rick Barnes after the game on Wednesday night against the Arkansas Razorbacks. So I have one takeaway before I ask you your takeaway on this, Jordan.
Sure.
What is Arkansas doing with a room like that for press conferences? You can't get a screen. You can't get something with your logo on the back of it. All you got is wooden chairs with a hog in it. I mean, come on, guys.
Well, it is Arkansas, first off. Second off, it looks like a hotel room.
It really does. It looks like a hotel conference room. Like, now I will say those chairs, they're right there with the hog on it. I mean, you know my love for Arkansas's logo and color scheme to begin with.
Right.
I think the chairs are pretty sick. They're pretty clean, but
right.
I don't know, man. Now, if I could get a chair like that with a power T on it or a rifleman, that'd be the way right there.
I'd tear your arm off for it.
Ah, man, I wouldn't let you do it. I'd go get out the pistol, man. I'd be coming straight towards you. So, Jordan, what takeaways do you have from what Richard Dale Barnes had to say at the end of the game?
Two things. He seems like he has a ton of respect for Muss.
Well, who doesn't? He should.
He spoke very highly of him and his coaching abilities. And to me, you don't hear that. To me, you don't hear that enough nowadays. A lot of guys are just like, yeah, whatever, we lost, but they don't go in, or we won, and they don't compliment the other coach. And I'm not saying you have to every time you get out there and you're doing a presser, but I think we all realize that Musselman knows what he's doing, and he's a good coach. He's just kind of got a raw deal this year, man, with everybody being hurt, people leaving the program, stuff like that. So that was honestly refreshing to me to see. The second thing, he was very complimentary of Adu last night. Adu had it, like you say, we talked about it earlier. Adu had probably his best game of the year, I feel like. And it was nice to see. We're going to have more of that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you're saying right there. Jonas Adu played, just the best game that he's played in a long, long time. I mean, pulling up the stats right here once again, 11 of 14 from the field. So he shot 78.6% from the floor, 100% on his free throws, 12 rebounds, and 23 points. Going into some of his other games right here too. I mean, the only one I can remember where he was that good in and his shooting percentage wasn't that great. Was Ole Miss. He went 10 of 19 from the field for 52.6%, 10 boards, 2 assists. Let's see, 24 points. Man, I'm going to say that last night was his best game of the year. I really am.
Gotta agree with it, man. It's just at the beginning of SEC play, he was averaging through like 4 games a double or right at it. That's taken a hit with the last 2 or 3 performances he's had. So it was good to see him kind of get back on track last night.
So looking at this right here, man, and this is me just doing a little bit more work right here that I didn't do. This was his second best shooting percentage night from the field. His best came against Mississippi State, but he only got 9 points in that game. So kind of one of those things where you're like, yeah, it is what it is. You lost and you did that. I'm taking this one as the best one right here by far.
Well, it's one of those things. I've said it on here before. I'll continue to say it. You'll hear it a lot during football season. Numbers don't lie, but they can be deceiving.
Yes.
I'll take a 75% or 50% shooting night on 25 points as opposed to 75 on 10.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Well, with that being said, do we even need to talk about player of the game?
Oh, no, sir. It's got to be Mr. Adu, don't it?
I was going to say, I don't think that there's a way it could go to anybody else. I mean, you can make a case for Dalton, but you can make a case for Dalton any night.
Right.
Honorable mention in this one is Jordan Gainey. He played one of the best games that he has ever played. And it's like he came off the bench and he was not just hot. He was not just hotter than fish grease. He was as hot as the surface of the sun. I mean, that kid was on fire.
Hotter than a 3-nutted tomcat.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was something like I'd never seen. I mean, him do. And if he can do that, man, it's going to be great. I really am happy for what the kid has been able to do.
One thing I want to say as far as he goes, is he starting to build a late case for 6th man of the year? In the SEC?
Yes. I mean, the reason why I side right there is because I think that is, I mean, I think that it's his award right now.
It has to be. Who else outside of maybe one of these kids from Kentucky that can score the ball just because they have no other choice because they can't stop a 4th grade basketball team. Shout out Pittman Center Eagles. Just
shameless
who
plug.
else? Right, shameless plug. I ain't ashamed of it. I'll come on here with my ring.
There you go. Yeah, your championship ring. We need to show the listeners that. No, I agree with you, man. I mean, here's my question though. Dalton's going to get SEC Player of the Year. I think that's already locked up. Either Zakai or Zakai will get first team All SEC.
Yeah.
Jonas, second team. Are they going to be tired of Tennessee as the voters and say, okay, we can't give another award to another Tennessee player? I think that's something you might run into on this. I don't know. I don't think it should be that way. But in voting for awards when it comes to sports, that is a thing. Fatigue over and over and over again. Like, how tired are you of seeing the Chiefs compete for a Super Bowl every single year? We're all tired of it.
Yes.
The same thing where the voters are going to say, okay, we've seen enough of Tennessee. We've given them enough awards. I don't know. It could be a thing.
Well, that's a good point. And I'm with you. It should not be like that. But, you brought up the Chiefs. You brought up that. What about, LeBron could make a case for MVP every year.
Well, that's why they don't give it to him, is because they would be tired of giving it to him. So it makes me wonder.
See where you're coming from. But, buddy, that being said, who are we putting on the milk carton? Oh,
that hurts my heart. That hurts my heart.
Me too, man. It really does.
Jemiah Meshack, you are on the carton.
But you know what? Only reason he is because he didn't hit his 3-pointers last night. Best 3-point shooter on the team.
With that being said, let's go to break.
Let's do it. If you're looking for the perfect Smoky Mountain vacation, Mountain Romance is your cozy romantic getaway. Starting at $129 per night, you get 2 bedrooms, 2 full baths, and this beautiful cabin will sleep up to 6 people. With an amazing mountain view, fire pit, pool table, and hot tub, this place has it all and is located within minutes of downtown Gatlinburg. To inquire, go to Airbnb and search for Mountain Romance or email bearslair2021@gmail.com.
All right, guys. If you all are anything like me and you have a hard time waking up in the morning until you get that caffeine in you, come give our friends at W a try. Each energy blend that they have created comes with no calories, no sugar, no fillers, and no artificial colors. So you go online, you go buy it, it comes to your house. It comes in a little container with powder in it. Scoop it out, drop it in your shaker, add water, shake it up, and you're good to go. It's that simple. Tastes amazing, no carbonation, no added sugars in it, so you don't get that sugar crash at the end of your energy buzz. Let me tell you guys, this stuff is amazing. My favorite flavor is Beach and Peach, which is a white mango peach, and oh boy, stuff is great. Let me just tell you. Go to w.gg on your web browser and type in promo code VAWLINOUT for 10% off. VAWLINOUT for 10% off.
This next segment is brought to you by Three Kings of Cardboard, the go-to spot to upgrade your sports memorabilia collection. Check out their Facebook group and eBay at Three Kings of Cardboard. I have dealt with them personally and will not deal with anybody else. My favorite item from them is my Jalen Wright 1-of-1 Bowman U Superfractor that they have pulled me. Check out our friends at Three Kings of Cardboard today.
Oh, Jordan, you hear that music, bro? You know what that means.
Start bench cut.
It's time for my favorite part of the show, bro. So,
Yes, sir.
start bench cut today, Jordan. With the announcement of EA's College Football 25 today, which non-Power 5 team were you most excited to run Road to Glory with? University of Texas El Paso Miners, University of Tennessee Chattanooga Moccasins, Hawaii Rainbow Warriors.
Ooh. You know what? I'm going to go with the UTEP. I'm going to start the UTEP Miners. I'm going to bench Hawaii, and I'm going to cut the Mocs. I say this because location matters. You got to be able to recruit. Texas is fertile recruiting ground, brother.
You know, I like it, man. But, man, I've always wanted to live in Hawaii. I'm going to start the Rainbow Warriors. I'm going to bench the Moccasins because I can't cut anything inside the state of Tennessee unless it has to do with Vanderbilt or the University of Memphis. And then I'm going to cut the Texas El Paso Miners, but really good program right there. So I like that one, though. I am so excited for that video game, man.
Dude,
oh, my God.
You're not even I'm taking the week off.
Man.
No episodes that week.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. No, there won't be any episodes that week because Grant's going to be glued to the PlayStation, but maybe we'll try to get some of you guys to play that game with us. So moving on to the next one, the big dance is coming up, man. I want to know what you think the most likely outcome is for the University of Tennessee. Win the national championship, make the program's first ever Final Four, or an early exit once again?
Oh man. I'm gonna say we make the first. I'm gonna make our first Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna bench early exit. I'm gonna cut national championship.
Ooh.
Just because, man, I don't know.
Need
man.
a lot of luck to get there. I agree.
We got to have a lot of luck, and honestly, we've talked about it before, buddy. Just you got to stay hot for 6 games, 5 games, really, but got to stay hot for 6 games. And we've seen it all year, man. We'll string 3, maybe 4 together, and then we'll come out just flat and get bounced, you know?
Yeah, man, I'm going to start the Final Four as well. I think that this is the year for that, but I could also be surprised. I am going to bench early exit Rick, and I'm going to cut the Natty. Spoiler alert for anybody who listens to the show. I think Tennessee's a very good basketball team. I just don't. I don't know. I have some issues with the team right now.
I feel like if you catch us after a winning streak of 3-4 games and we've looked really good doing it, Like catch us after we play Bama, Auburn, Kentucky. Those 3 games, say Tennessee goes 3-0 in those 3 games, might have a different answer.
Yeah, I can see that, man. I mean, it can be a whole lot of different things. So with the next one right here, with the announcement of college football coming out today, we wanted to kind of figure out, Jordan, favorite old school video game console: Start Bench Cut, SNES, PlayStation 1, or Sega Genesis?
Ooh, what have you got?
I'm going to start the PlayStation 1. That was the first ever video game console young Grant had. My parents got that for me for Christmas in like 2001, I want to say is what it was. Or maybe it was even before that. It probably was before that. But they got me the Hot Wheels Burning Rubber game. And I
Yeah.
played the shit out of that. It was the first time I ever heard a Metallica song because Fuel was the theme song for that.
Give me
And
fuel,
so,
give me fire, give me all yours.
dude, I thought that was the coolest song ever as like a little kid. Got me into metal music, which I love. Got me into video games. So I'm going to start the PS1. I'm
You
going
know
to
what?
bench. Go ahead.
I'm gonna shout out our good buddy Byron. Rest in peace on that one. He was a huge Metallica fan. Got to
Yeah,
shout
shout
him
out
out.
to Byron, man. R.I.P. I'm going to bench the Sega Genesis, man. So also love the Sega Genesis, another video game console I had, so I could get the original NBA 2K. So shout out to
Nice.
that because that was the first system to do it. And I'm gonna cut the SNES.
Ooh, man, why?
I got special spots for the other ones, not for the SNES.
All right, I'm gonna start the Super Nintendo simply because, man, have you ever played Turtles in Time?
Oh, of course I have. Who hasn't?
Dude, that's like the greatest video game ever
Eh,
for the older consoles.
yeah, for the older consoles, it's good.
Dude, I would sit and I would beat that game 3 times in a day, and every time I'd just be more excited. So I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna bench the Sega. Mortal Kombat, son. Mortal
Okay.
Kombat.
You're gonna cut the PS1?
Man, I hate to because I loved it. This was a tough one. I
That
struggled with
started
this one.
everything, though. That started everything pretty much was the PS1. Like the
Did it,
modern
though?
video games,
Modern wise.
modern video games, what we have today is because of the PS1.
This is true. This is true. I guess it depends on if you're a PlayStation or Xbox guy.
Yeah, well, I used to be an Xbox guy and I switched for a reason. That's all I'll say right there.
True
And then
that.
I've got one last one right here that I came up with while we were doing the last segment. So
Okay.
it's kind of on the fly, but I want to know, who was your favorite SEC hoops coach not named Rick Barnes?
Ooh.
Start bench cut, Nate Oates of Alabama, Eric Musselman of Arkansas, or Lamont Paris of South Carolina?
Ooh, that's tough, dude.
I think we're going to have completely different answers.
We probably will, but you know what? I'm gonna start the Must Bus. I like him, dude. Last just because he's a short guy. Last night he was talking to that.
is.
He was talking to that ref, and he was he was like looking up at him, like he was Andre the Giant. And I'm just like, all right, whatever, man. I'm gonna bench Lamont Paris, and I'm cutting Nate Oates because I don't give a damn.
You're going to cut Nate Oates?
No, I'm gonna bench Nate Oates.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to cut
Oh,
Nate
no.
Oates.
You're right. I'm cutting Nate Oates.
Oh, you had the fire in my eyes. You took it away, and now you're bringing it back.
You're right. I am, because I love getting the man fired up. But you know why? My hatred for the state of Alabama and the University of Alabama runs that deep. Shout out Three Kings Cardboard.
Man, so Nate Oates is the start for one reason and one reason only. There have been 8 trophies handed out in the SEC since he's came to the SEC. He's won 5 of them. 5! I'm going to bench Lamont Paris because he is the best damn coach in the country this year on the job that he's done. It's not
Sure.
going to be long term, and he's not going to be a South Carolina long term. But this year, he's the best coach in the country.
No doubt.
I'm
I'll
gonna
agree with that.
I'm gonna cut Musselman, but that's really hard to do. But if you look at it and the way I did it, I also went by standings in the SEC currently. But Okay, let me ask you this then. Start bench
All right.
cut it this way. Which one of these coaches would you rather have take over for Rick Barnes whenever he calls it quits?
Ooh. I would have to start bench cut, start Oates. As bad as I hate Alabama, I can't hate the guy. I can hate the school though.
Oh, he's a hell of a coach.
I would start Oates, bench Muss. Paris, he's just not done enough right
Harris
now
has
in
done
the SEC.
more than enough.
In
Man,
the SEC, that's all I'm saying. This is his first year in the SEC.
start
He's probably
Oates.
really good.
Yeah.
Gonna be really good. But if we're going body of work, that's how I'm looking at it.
Start Oates, bench Paris, cut Musselman. Same order I gave it to you in right there on the other one, but it's
You
just
can't
because,
cut him much more, man. He's only like 5'6".
man. Okay, hang on. Don't pick on us short kings over here, man. Come on.
Just remember, it ain't the size of the dog in the fight; it's the size of the fight in the dog.
There you go. And he got it. He got it.
You know
Man.
what? I got one more random one for you. Just
Okay.
random off the wall. Only reason I'm doing it is because my baby girl was just like, "Hey, Daddy, I want some cereal," while we were in break. So I got her some cereal. Start bench cut. Reese Puffs, Captain Crunch, Fruit Loops.
I'm not really a cereal guy, so that's a
Oh,
little bit tough for me. I am going to start Fruit Loops. I'm gonna cut Reese's Puffs, and was Captain Crunch the other one?
it was. It was.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut that.
Oh man,
Not a
dude.
cereal guy, so I'm not the right person to ask that one to, unfortunately.
But that's exactly why I had to ask you.
Yeah, I mean, man, I don't know. That's too unhealthy for me. I can't do cereal.
Well, I'm starting Reese's Puffs. The rest of it don't matter. What do you say we talk about some
SEC,
scores of
bro.
interest?
Yeah, let's jump straight into the SEC. So, guys, not really a full week in the SEC. Every single game that we are going to talk about today is a game that has been played this week. A lot of teams have got to their midweek bye this week. There are 4 teams that were not in action, but man, all of them were really interesting for Tennessee in some way, shape, or form. So they are all scores of interest today. Auburn over South Carolina in the biggest game of the week in college basketball. 101-61.
Man,
Right after we talk up South Carolina says, "Oh, let's show the Vawlint Out boys. They can't get nothing right. Here you go."
right?
Thanks,
Well,
Carolina.
that's like us talking up Auburn a few weeks back. We talk up Auburn, and then they go lay 3 eggs. It's like,
Don't-
come on, man.
Don't remind me what I said about Auburn, because I was really like, Auburn's almost about to cut down the nets. I was getting ready to say that. And then
Man.
Auburn did what they did.
You know, the thing about it is, though, is I was right there with you. I was like, Auburn, if I had to pick a team not named Tennessee, Auburn's my pick to win the conference. And here we are.
Yeah, well, man, I mean,
It's still either
Auburn's
way,
still a
though.
really good team.
Either way, though, man, we're not far off. I don't feel like.
No, well, we'll get to that in the next slide. But like I said, man, I mean, 101-61 right here. Auburn was up by 22 at halftime. I remember texting you during our game because I have 2 TVs where I live. Well, I have 3 TVs, but I only brought out 2 of them last night. But I had my computer monitor showing the Auburn and South Carolina game, and then the big 70-inch is showing Tennessee, obviously. Well,
Right.
I texted you. I'm like, oh my God, Auburn's actually doing the thing. They're doing the thing. But
And I'm like, I just need them to cover. I just need South Carolina to cover the spread. Spread got blown out.
yeah, that was not even close, man. Oh my God.
No.
Next game on the list right here, the Vanderbilt Commodores got a win that shouldn't have counted. I'll get into the what's the word I'm looking for? The controversy right there in a little bit. But they got a win over Texas A&M 74-73. Ezra Mannion gets that ball, goes up, comes back down with it, and then goes back up again and shoots it.
Ooh, man.
Shouldn't have counted. Shouldn't have counted. I'm going to say that. But now, man, poor little Tink Tink out in Nashville, Vanderbilt, 7-17 on the year, 2-9 in conference.
Po little Tink Tink.
Yeah, and Tennessee's next opponent that we'll be talking about here very, very shortly.
And man, the bad part about it is just last night, or just last episode, I should say, we were both like, that Texas A&M loss is not going to look bad come 3 or 4 weeks from now. And then they drop that one.
Bro, I'm gonna have to go leave the studio and go play in traffic if we keep on talking about all my mistakes like that.
It ain't just you.
I know, but I'm calling it on me right there. Ugh, so annoying. Next one on Tuesday, Florida gets a 2-point dub over LSU, 82-80. Florida moves to 7-17 on the season, 7-4 in conference. LSU moves to 12-12 on the season and 4-7 in conference. I think it's very safe to say LSU is not going to be making a lot of return trips to the Scores of Interest on the Vawlint Out podcast.
Yeah, I would say that's a safe bet. Though, man, I'm sticking with it though. Florida is a Sweet 16 team. Maybe if they get the right matchup, at least an Elite 8 team.
It's hard to go against it right now, man. Florida's playing really, really good ball right now. I mean, well, let me get to it later. I don't want to jump ahead for what I've got prepared, but I will talk on Florida here in just a second. Last score of the week, the Kentucky Wild Kittens host the Ole Miss Rebels. Shout out to our buddy Steven. But our buddy Jay's team was victorious in this by 12 points. The Coal Miners stopped a 3-game losing skid in Rupp Arena.
Oh, man, they needed it. That was, here's my thing. When I say, and it looks like they actually played defense this go around.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was Ole Miss's inability to be able to hit shots. I mean, diving into what the teams did right here too, Ole Miss shot 37.5% from the field, where Kentucky shot 52% from the field. Kentucky shot 33% from three. Ole Miss shot 22. Ole Miss turned the ball over 12 times. Kentucky turned it over 15 times, and Kentucky barely won the rebounding battle, with the final on that being 37 boards to 34 boards for the Rebs.
So here's my question. I know I threw out my hot take last episode, but here's the question. Let's call it maybe what do you want to say? Buy or sell? Buy or sell? Florida goes further in the NCAA tournament than Kentucky.
Bye.
There you go.
It's not even a question. Kentucky's not a good team. Like,
They're
and
not.
I hate it because
I do
it was
too.
at one point a really big win for Tennessee. And like, I'm going to say this, man, and we both hate Alabama in football. I think that's no secret to anybody. If you wear the power T on your chest, like we're both doing right now, you don't like Alabama.
No.
It's going to be a little bit, I don't want to say upsetting, but the game's not going to mean as much anymore if Alabama's not a good team. Like you talk to Alabama fans who hate Tennessee. They didn't like it when Tennessee wasn't good.
Right.
It kind of goes the same way. Like, I hate Kentucky. I can't stand Kentucky. I don't want to see Kentucky just completely fall off the face of the earth. And I'm not saying that's what's happening. But how much more longer is John Calipari going to be in that position? I think this is his last season. I'm just going to call it what it is.
Ooh. Bold prediction?
Bold prediction? I don't even think it's that bold at this point. I think Slick Suit's on his way out the door.
Slick Suit. The thing about it is, though, man, with Kentucky, going by trends, okay, we've talked up South Carolina, we've talked up Auburn, we talked up Texas A&M. We just both sat here and basically said they suck.
And they're gonna win the national championship now. And if they do that, I'm gonna quit the podcast.
No, you're not. I gotta have my co-host. But they come out, say they come to the Food City Center here in a few weeks, put one on us like we did
Not
them.
on senior night. Not on senior night.
Wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't be the first time, and it won't be the last time. I mean, it's too big of a rivalry. But
I'm just throwing that out there. Here's my thing: Kentucky, as bad as they are on defense, man, they're still dangerous.
They're very dangerous
because they can score the ball, and if they exactly God-given talent outweighs coaching more times than not. You can overcome bad to mediocre coaching, and that's not a slam on Cal. Cal has proven over time he is a good coach. But God-given talent, and when you have that much of it, they figure it out eventually. You
They
know what I'm
seem
saying?
to every single year, man. I mean, it's going to be something to keep an eye on. That's for
Right.
sure when it does come to that.
I look at it like this. We both know, we both watched Ed Orgeron with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, all that. Okay. We all know Coach O, Go Tigers, is not an elite football coach.
No, he's nowhere on the realm of a Nick Saban or a Ryan Day or an Urban Meyer, but he was able to get a championship. John
Right.
Calipari's a great coach. I'm not saying anything bad about Calipari.
Right.
I think that he's probably outstayed his welcome there. Kentucky's a job where you spend 5 years there, not 15 years.
This is true. This is
And
true.
they eventually they just get tired of the bullshit. And I think Kentucky fans are really tired of it. I mean, when I made the trip up to Rupp, 2 weeks ago now at this point, they were all like, man, we want to trade coaches. That's what a lot of them were asking me. And I'm like, hell no, we ain't trading coaches. We got a Baptist deacon as our coach, and you got the devil. We don't want him. So diving into SEC standings, there's not been a lot that's changed. Alabama is now sitting in first place all on their own. So shout out to the Alabama Crimson Tide for doing that. Auburn jumps into a share with South Carolina for second place. Tennessee is holding third place down all by themselves. Florida and Kentucky have jumped into fifth place.
Man, that I'm kind of nervous with where we're at the moment because the inconsistencies we have. Dude, we could feasibly, I'm not saying we will, but say we drop one or two of these next 4 games that we shouldn't, that we have no business dropping. We've still got Kentucky on the schedule. We've still got Texas A&M. We still got South Carolina, Auburn, and Alabama. We've got everybody ahead of us. We've said it before. Tennessee controls its own destiny.
Mm-hmm.
We've got everybody going down to Texas A&M again on that schedule, or as far as the standings go, except Florida.
Yeah, we got Vanderbilt for the first on the returns on Saturday. We still have to go play Mizzou next week. Easy dub, unless college basketball just does college basketball things, which is a very big possibility. You still got to play A&M. Kentucky comes to town on senior day. Don't have to play Florida again. You have to go return to Columbia, South Carolina, which nightmares. I mean, that one's a nightmare game for me right there personally. Auburn, they come to the Food City Center, about a week and a half from now? And then you still have Alabama where you go to Tuscaloosa, the first Saturday in March. Anything can happen. So, Jordan, I want to do this. Rank the teams that you think are going to be the 1 through 4 in the SEC. Give me your top 4.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say the Gamecocks end up taking it. Maybe no. Let me start over. It's tough, dude. It is tough.
I've got my 4. Let me give you my 4 real quick.
Go ahead.
South Carolina is the 1 seed. I'm going to put Tennessee at the 2 seed, Alabama at the 3, and Auburn at the 4. I think that South Carolina is a nightmare for a lot of teams in the league. Auburn was just a one-off game for them. It's not going to continue to be that way. I don't think that they're going to have any issues like they did against the Tigers. Now, can South Carolina continue to build? That's going to be the question we're going to ask. Is it going to be one of those games where it's like, hey, this was the best thing to ever happen to South Carolina? We may be talking about it that way here in a couple of weeks. I don't know. But give me South Carolina as the 1 seed. Come to Nashville here in a couple of weeks. Tennessee is the 2, Alabama is the 3, Auburn is the 4.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'm going to double down on what I said earlier during the season. Give me Auburn as a top seed.
Okay.
South Carolina is the 2. Tennessee is the 3. Bama is the 4.
I mean, here's the thing on that. You can't argue with a single one of those and how it turns out, because any of those teams could be the 1 overall seed, and any of those teams could be the 4th overall seed in the SEC. And here's the thing. I think that I think that every single one of those 4 teams is good enough to separate themselves from the Floridas and the Kentuckys and the A&Ms who are trying to make that last push.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The thing about it is that team, those 5, 6, and 7 teams, maybe even Ole Miss, but I feel like Ole Miss is a little far back. Those 5, 6, 7 teams, Florida, Kentucky, A&M, they're right there. Kentucky and Florida more so, but A&M too. They're right there in case, Tennessee or even South Carolina was to, hit a skid, lose some games they shouldn't, lose some games that, are close, because we know what we close out with after these next 3 games.
Well, here's the thing about that's so great about college basketball. We're going to find out here pretty soon, man. Season ends, March 9th against Kentucky. So hell, man, we're 3 weeks away from the season being over with and getting into March ball, which we're all so damn ready for, man. But
yes, sir.
That has been our look around the SEC, man. You want to talk some Vanderbilt?
Let's do it, dude. Let's do it.
So this is the first of the return matchups for the University of Tennessee this season. Matchup predictor is giving Tennessee an 98.5% chance to win this game as of around 9 a.m. Central on February 15th. So might change a little bit here or there, but I don't think there's going to be a whole lot. Tennessee won the previous matchup this season, which was played at Memorial Gymnasium on January the 27th. They final score of 75-62. Dalton Connect had a classic Dalton Connect game, scoring 32 points on the road. Tennessee leads the all-time series against Vanderbilt, 130-76. Now, here's the kicker. Tennessee leads the all-time series in Knoxville, 76-20. This has been played for over 100 years, and they've only won 20 times in Knoxville, man.
Right? That's
how have they? So, here's my thing on that when it comes to Vanderbilt, man. 76 wins in the series all time to 20. Just think about it that way.
That's 56, man.
Yeah.
56.
They've won 56 times in Nashville and only been able to win 20 times in Knoxville.
In dog years, that's 8. They hadn't beat us in 8 dog years. You know what I'm saying?
Hell no, they haven't. Rick Barnes' all-time record against Vanderbilt at Tennessee is 14-4. Diving into what the team did last time that the Volunteers played Vanderbilt, Jonas Adu had 9 points. Dalton Connect had 32. Zakai Ziegler had 10. Wasn't his best game from shooting the ball, but he had 6 assists. So he gets a pass on that. Santiago Vescovi, 12 points. Love to see it again, Santi. Would love to see it again. Josiah Jordan-James, 0 points. Don't want to see that. And our main man, Jordan Gainey, had 10 points. Volunteers shot 49% from the field, 40% from 3, 63.6% from the free throw line.
The Vols get that free. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say a couple of things I want to see change different. Well, a couple of things I want to see replicated in this game. Okay. Dalton Connect, you don't need to have 32. You need to be in 25 or above. Zakai, I need to see more points out of you in this game. Jonas, I need to see more out of you in this game. Santi, if you can replicate it, round of applause for you. I don't expect it. Josiah Jordan-James, I would expect for those two to flip-flop their numbers, honestly.
You know what? I don't want to necessarily do it, but I'm going to do it. I want to issue a challenge to Sonny. Maybe it'll get to him. Drop 20 at Thompson for us one time this year.
Get a 20 burger for us. Get a 20 burger for us, Santi.
Because he's capable of doing it. We know he is.
Yeah, and of course the game I won't be at will be the one he does it at.
But let's see him do it. You know what I'm saying? Because he could do it.
Yeah.
My other thing the one thing I think Tennessee needs to improve on to win this game and do it convincingly. That free throw percentage, man, 64%.
It's got to go up. It's got to go up big time, and it can't be. It can't just be 65%. No, it needs to get up into that 78 range or higher. And I don't think that's undoable for the team at the end of the day. I think that they can really get to that 78 range.
They can, man. And this is the time of the year they have to do it because, I mean, you know just as well as I do, say we probably blow out the first team that we get in the big dance. After you get past that game, though, you even out. You get down to the round of 32. Most of those teams are pretty even. If they're not, they're good enough to make it a game. And if you don't play your best game, they could beat you.
Well, you're going home at that point. I agree.
So
free throw needs to go up.
Let's start. Let's build off that off of this game right here that we watched last night. That Tennessee, shot 88% from the line on. Let's build off of that, and let's see what we get the rest of the way.
Well, just get me to 78%. That's what I want to see. You get us to that 78%, and I don't see that being an issue. That is a Grant key to the game. 78% from the line. I want to see that. Tennessee's not going to have any issues. Jumping into hashtag HYFT, man. Couple of guys from Vanderbilt who were issues last time, Tyron Lawrence and Ezra Mannion. Lawrence had 21 points where Mannion had 14. Mannion balled in that first half. He got 12 of his 14 in the first half whenever they played in the 6-1-5 a couple of weeks ago. So I want to see that change a little bit, be able to put more on him. But the second that Ziegler really locked down on the kid, game was over with, man. It wasn't really much of anything right there. Diving into the leaders for the teams on the season, Ezra Mannion is the leader in points, 14.5. Dalton Connect is the leader for Tennessee, 20.4. Then Allen Lubin is the leader in rebounds with 5.6 per game versus Jonas Adu's 7.5. And Ezra Mannion is a leader in assist with 3.6 per game versus Zakai Ziegler's 5.6 per game. What this is telling me right here, man, is Tennessee's not going to have a whole lot of issues in this game. Protect the home floor. Feed the floor. Not going to be any issues, man. I mean, it's really all I've got.
Hashtag feed the floor, brother.
Hashtag feed the floor. Hashtag HYFT. Hashtag create chaos. Hashtag beat Vanderbilt.
Hashtag let me tell you something, brother.
Hashtag Commodores.
Oh, man. Well, buddy, I think we've about hit on everything we could today. What do you think?
I think so, man. Let's into how we always do. Go Vols.
Go Vols.
This episode of the Vawlint Out podcast has been brought to you by our friends at Peace of Mind Enterprises. From construction, home remodel, down to general handyman services, Peace of Mind has you covered.
All technicians are licensed and insured, servicing East Tennessee with 30-plus years of experience. Call 865-202-7167 for a free estimate because nothing beats having peace of mind.